So today is our second day of transformations. We're taking this red function here, and we are transforming it by taking all the parent points, all the main points on it, and we are messing with their y value. Why did we do the y value? Because the stuff was on the outside. So do you trust the stuff on the outside? Yes, you do. So we multiply everything by -1/2 on the y value. Should have gotten -1. You should have gotten -2, -3, -1, and -2. And I'm going to call that y with a little dash. It's called y prime. And it just separates the y from the new y. It's like y 2.0, y improved. All right, and then my new points will be this and this. Let's graph it. -4, -1. And then this and this, -1, -2. I missed. Try again on that one. There we go. And then 4, -3. And then 8, -1. And then -7, -2. There we go. Does it look like it's been shrunk? Well, it's hard to tell sometimes, but it's not quite as tall as it used to be. And then does it look like it's been reflected? I hope you can see that this is reflected across. There's a point for each one reflected straight across. Do you think you could do that? So that really sums up the lesson. That's all we have to learn. Not much there. Pretty easy. Okay, go to the next page. This is just saying with a little more complicated mathematical jargon what a vertical scale does. We call that a scale factor or whatever. Okay, do you get if they're saying the a is bigger than 1 or the scale factor is bigger than 1, then it's stretching. So this is just an official way to say all of that. If a is between 0 and 1, we say the graph has had vertical shrinking or compression or contraction. Those are all words that would mean that. And then here's that factor of 1/a thing. Remember how we switch it? So if it's on the inside, and I have functions, and I'm told to do this to it, you get, that's where people make all the mistakes. Because they go, oh, twice as wide. And it's actually what? Half. So you'd say a shrink factor of, not 2, 1/2. The way I can prove that it's that is right here. Factor of 1 over that number. As in, it's a shrink factor. All right, moving on. Here's one. Anybody actually remember the name of this old school toy? Yes? That's right, Stretch Armstrong. As you can imagine, we're about to be stretching this shape. Okay, would you please take a moment and stretch the M officially, but don't just kind of go, oh, I think it should sort of be here. Do it the official way with the XY chart. Pause for a second. So first you start by listing all of the x values. I hope you can do that pretty quick. These are pretty easy points. 0, 0, 1, 4, 2, 0, 3, 4, and 4, 0. A little off kilter here. And now, am I messing with the x's or the y's? Dice of destiny. Who should I ask about this? Row 3, last person. I knew it. Okay, what? Okay, I'm going to say it again. Are we messing with the x's or the y's here? The x's. And should we multiply them by 1/2 or by 2? By 2 is correct. So I'm going to take all my x's and times them all by 2. I'm going to put a little times 2 here. And I have new x's. What should I call them? X new? X prime is a good way to do it. Why not x to the -1? Because that means something. What's x to the -1 mean? Inverse, and this is not an inverse. Okay? 0, 2, 4, 6, and 8. So if I actually graph these now, 0, 0, would you please take a moment, actually graph them. I want you to see the end result. Of course, it's an M shape. M for Minnetonka. But it's wide. Okay, did you get an M that's stretched out like twice as wide as it was before. I just totally did that roughly the way I said you should not do it on a test. But if I actually graph my points, I can get the exact spot. So here it is, 0, 0, already graphed it. 2, 4, it's right there. 4, 0, it's there. 6, 4, it's there. And 8, 0, it's off the graph just slightly. Do, 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 do. Okay. Now, the ones on the test that are R3 level are going to have more than one thing going on. Let's get to this one. Would you please do this from start to finish without any help from me? I had one kid who was able to single-handedly make 3 separate mistakes in what you're supposed to do on this one because it's complicated. Pause for a second while you give this one a try. Okay, let's see if you were doing this right. Couple thoughts. -7, 4 is on it again, and it looks like the same basic points, which is kind of nice. So hopefully you just figured out you could copy those over from the previous one. All right, and this one's 4, 6, and the last one's 8, 2. All right. I'm going to go backwards here and make you think about it this way. Mr. B, tell me one mistake you think that previous kid made on this one. He was sitting in the same chair as you. He wanted to multiply everything by a half. You're right, that's a common mistake because you should. Divide by 2 is the same as multiplying by a half. Multiply by 2. Yes, you should have multiplied by 2. And what about that plus 5? Common mistake is to actually plus 5. You should subtract 5. And then last but not least, do you think it matters whether you add first and then double it? Yeah, it'll matter. Okay, so then which one's supposed to be first? The add subtract is normally last, so it's first. You're right. So you should have subtracted 5 first, then multiplied everything by 2. Raise your hand if you did that right. Okay, it's common to not do that right. So take a second, go ahead and do it. And then there's one more thing that needs to be done. Yes, sir. Okay, all right. How about this? I bet you can do it. What's that tell me to do? Right there. Okay, and so is this the X or the Y things? That's a Y thing, yes. So everything gets multiplied by -1. Negative, 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 negative. And then, subtract 5. -12, subtract 5. -9, subtract 5. -6, subtract 5. -1, subtract 5. 3. And then times them all by 2. -24, -18, -12, -2, and -6. I'm not going to call it X because it's not really X. It's different than X. So I'm going to call it X different, or X what? X prime. Okay. Y's did change. I could make a new column, but I just put a negative on all of them. So we'll use that and that. But we will call it Y prime now. And now my new points, well, frankly, I'm not going to test to graph them because the whole thing's moving so far to the left. Would we expect it to do that? Wouldn't we expect that this would make it move to the left? I mean, now that you know it's counterintuitive, it seems like to the right, but it's actually to the left. What's really making it go so far? Why is it so far? The multiplication by 2. So -12 I could have probably even got on my graph, but once I started doubling these things, it was making it twice as what? Twice as wide. All right, good. All right, there's how you do the complicated ones. Now let's go through the homework and tell you which ones you can skip. Find this page first. And don't overthink this. This is not list a whole bunch of points and then change them all. This is take that point and change it based on the little rule. So it's like the tables, except you just have to do it with 1 point. It's kind of nice. All right, we'll skip a few here. 14 and 17, you may toss. Moving on. We're going to skip number 45. 45. You know what I'm doing there, don't you? Okay. It's powerful, isn't it? The power of advertising. Now it's in my head. That anyway, that was skipping 45. Skip 60 and 63. Remember, what am I really doing? Well, I'm making assignments shorter, and I'm also leaving you a few problems that would be great ones to do on the day of the test. You know what I mean? The day before the test, you can come back and do those. There's nothing wrong with these problems. It's just you didn't need quite that many on that night. Shift them. Some of you are not doing any review for your tests, and you're averaging Bs. Well, make a choice to say, if I keep doing what I'm doing, I'm going to keep getting what I'm getting, and I'm getting a B average right now, and I don't like it. Well, then do something different. That'd be one thing you could do, is do more serious review on the night before the test. Big surprise, more review usually leads to better scores. All right, that's all I got for you. And today was a nice, easy day. One more thought on your top 20. There's a vast divide. I'm not going to read names and scores, but there are some of you in here who know all the top 20. You've got them all down. And there's others of you that only have like half of them down. Do you get that makes a big difference in the long run? Every test, I can show you on every test where there's one of the top 20 that was critical. On our last test, it was about fractions and getting common denominators and knowing how to clear fractions. That was a big deal on that test. You didn't know how to do that, you couldn't get one of those questions, one's R3s right. I'm telling you, you need to learn all those things. I'm trying to help you. If it was about making my life easier, I wouldn't do the top 20. Pain in the butt. Kids want to take retakes on it all the time, and I need to explain a whole bunch of topics that I'm not even supposed to have to teach because you're supposed to have learned it before. I'm not doing it to make my life better. I'm doing it to make your life better. So take me up on it. Let me teach you that stuff. So if you haven't got your top 20 down, get it down. And then last, there's a thing called the True 20. I believe I already assigned you one version of the True 20, but I haven't told you when it's due, or, haven't collected it, of course. So if you haven't already seen the True 20, I recommend that you go into the True 20. It's on the same website, algebraninja.com, and do a True 20. So one of these days, I'm just going to surprise you and go, pop, there it is on your desk, version whatever. I'll figure out a version you haven't seen before. And we'll see how you do on the True 20. It's kind of like the next level of top 20. So if you already got top 20 down, step it up. Okay, that's all I have for you for today.